Hi, welcome back. In this video, we are going to be talking about some of the most common pitfalls in spirituality, especially for those of you who are just starting to wake up, starting your spiritual journey. I just wanted to bring your attention to a few things that really tripped me up along my way, so stick around. Welcome back to Project Live Awake. My name is Jana Nixa. This channel is all about mastering your mindset, raising your vibe so that you can wake up to all that you truly are. So in this video, we're going to be talking about some of the things that I wouldn't call them necessarily the most common. I would say that they're up there, but these three things along my spiritual journey were certainly things that super tripped me up along the way. And it just kind of came to me in a meditation that I should probably talk to you all about this, that this will help guide you through this process. And I know the process is different for everybody, so you may not experience some of these things, but I know some of you have because I get a lot of these questions. So the first one is, I'm spiritual, therefore I should be positive. And there's a lot of people out there that think spiritual people shouldn't get angry, spiritual people should love which we should love everybody all the time, but that doesn't mean that we don't get upset. That doesn't mean that we don't stick up for ourselves in a moment. And that doesn't mean that we don't feel things. And that's the most important part. So spiritual bypassing, I think is what it's called. And that is just where you see these spiritual people, especially earlier on in their journey, which was me early on. I'm spiritual and I'm going to be happy and nothing's going to make me mad and I'm just going to walk around in denial and pretend like everything is wonderful. Okay, so there's a difference between pretending everything is wonderful and choosing to see that everything's a gift no matter what, and there really is no positive or negative. But there is a difference. I'll give you an example, and I cannot claim this as my own. I actually got it from a book called Exponential Living that I read not too long ago, and it was really, really good. But I loved her. I'm all about metaphors and just trying to get these things to translate in a different way. So kind of spiritual bypassing, or this Pollyanna princess sort of positive attitude, is like seeing a banana that's pretty ripe, turning to the point where you would not want to eat it, and looking at it and going, that's a beautiful banana. No. That is spiritual bypassing. That is not doing the real work, okay? That's being in denial. The example that she uses, though, is to look at that same banana and see it for what it is and say that this would make some excellent banana bread. Or I think she used smoothie. So I guess now it is kind of my story too, because I see it as banana bread. That will make great banana bread. So it's not just denying the situation, but it is seeing the gift in it and not necessarily having to label it as good or bad, but just noticing what is. And it's really the story that you bring to it that determines whether or not it will serve you or anyone else, or if it's going to upset you. So I hope that's translating. Big difference there. The second one is, I got to get rid of this ego. And I spent a lot of time Googling, like, how do I get rid of my ego? What are the exercises I can do to rid myself of my ego? Now, here's the thing. We're not going to get rid of our ego, nor should we. The real gift in the ego is in you, and the ego is to be okay with it being there and just noticing it. I'll give you an example. I was in my yoga class the other day, and for some reason, there's just certain people, yogis, no offense to yogis out there, but some of them have missed the point of what yoga is supposed to be about, and you can feel that energy, and I am over there and I'm hearing my ego just go to town. Who does that person think they are? Don't they know that yoga is really just a preparation for meditation? It's not about how good you are and how long you can hold your hand. And so my ego's just going bananas because for whatever reason, the few things that this poor person, these comments that they made, just rubbed me. But the beauty of the ego is now Instead of saying, go away, I don't want you here, you just watch it. And it's actually quite entertaining. And you go, look at that thing get all worked up. I don't know this person. I don't know what their story is. I don't even know if what I'm feeling that my ego's reacting to is even truth. All I know is my ego's going bananas, and I find it somewhat entertaining. And so just being able to be okay with it, being there. And so the idea here in this spiritual pitfall is we don't want to necessarily rid ourselves of our ego. It's virtually impossible, but what we can do is let it find its proper place. It's no longer going to run the show. And so I hope that if you are having some of those sorts of challenges with, I just need to get rid of this ego. No, find a way to be okay with it being there. Find a way to see that it's just doing what it's here to do. And if you can see the small-minded pettiness in it, then that means it's not you. Then that means you're bigger than it. And so you're winning, so to speak. And the third hurdle, I don't even want to call it a hurdle, but another challenging piece that I've encountered along my journey is I need to get rid of all my blocks. I just need to release and get rid of all my blocks, and then I can have anything I want. And so again, there goes my ego, my spiritual ego back in the game saying, Googling, how do I get rid of spiritual blocks? How does one rid themselves? How do I release everything? So whenever you're feeling those sorts of controlling, we're going to do this, that is your ego. And it can be really clever along your spiritual journey and want to take charge and let's just do this thing. I even remember telling my teacher when I was certifying as a meditation coach, I just want to get rid, I'm good. Like, let's do this. Like, I just want to get rid of everything. And that's so ego talking, because if I've learned anything along my spiritual journey is that it's gentle, and then it's all about just opening. It's all about the willingness and the surrender and the trust. It's not about taking charge. It's not about getting into that meditation and okay, and taking control. It's your blocks will come up. They will come up as triggers. They will come up in your body as just maybe the nervous pit in your stomach. Perhaps you say something that you don't believe entirely, and you can feel that stomach turn in your body. Your blocks come up all day, every day. It's how your ego is talking to you. It's what's coming out of your mouth, especially when somebody tells you something, you go, well, but fill in the blank, that is a block. Because our blocks are right here. They're here. We may not be consciously aware of a lot of them, but they are consciously coming out of our mouth. They are thoughts that are going through our mind. So the more those feelings we feel in our body when we say something that maybe we don't fully align with. And so you really, all it is that gentle awareness and paying attention. So you don't have to go in there with like your shovel and your excavation crew and identify every block and this one has to do with my dad and what he did, and this one definitely has my mom's name on it. Oh, and this one's it will come up. It bubbles up all the time. That's why what I talk about on this channel, when you're around difficult people or difficult situations, or you're going through something that's really hard, this is an opportunity. This is an opportunity to look in the mirror and to release something. Release that part of you that's making it hard. Release that part of you that's angry about, whatever the situation may be. But those are your blocks. So we don't have to just go in there like manically trying to understand our insides. And that's the other beauty of blocks. You don't have to label them. Again, that's all ego. Well, this one came from my past life when I was whatever it may be. And yeah, maybe it's helpful sometimes to understand your stories. I've found it helpful. I've seen patterns. I've been able to identify my stories quicker because I understand where some of them come from, but it's not necessary. You don't have to understand and analyze everything in order to let it go. I've had just energies bubble up in me that I didn't even know what it was, but I would just find myself just crying and releasing during a meditation, or, even just seeing a specific quote or hearing a song. Sometimes even talking to you guys, I get emotional because it really is such a beautiful process if we can just embrace it and not run from it. And I just wanted to share those things with you. You know what? One more just came to mind. And I actually have talked about this before, but I think it really will fit well in with this whole subject, and that is the manic manifesting. That term, as far as I know, first time I heard it was from Gabrielle Bernstein, but it is so true. It's that visualization. Okay, I must sit now and visualize what I want for 10 minutes. Okay, check, did that. Now, let me feel the feelings that I need to feel while I'm visualizing. And so, again, when you start to feel that forceful push, checking off boxes sort of energy, that is your ego. This spiritual process. I'm not saying don't visualize. I'm not saying don't put yourself in those situations and give your inner conscious world an idea of where you hope to co-create with them, where you hope this will go. But to have this tenseness around it and be rigid about it, and as to how it needs to look and when it needs to happen, and worry about it as to when it's going to, and attaching all of that fear around it just pushes it further away. Because now you're telling the universe that this is something that you don't have, you're in lack, and when you're in lack, your universe is just going to give you more of what you're vibrating at. So again, if you're going to visualize, if you want those sorts of things as part of your spiritual practice, as part of your goal setting, it is all about that inner connection, the trust and the surrender. And just knowing if it's in you, if it lights you up, then you can't go wrong. It wouldn't light you up. My husband, videos like this for him, sitting here and doing what I'm doing, would not light him up, nor my mom. But then I've got my dad, and he wants to do the very same thing. So point being, it's in you. So trust why it's in you, and be gentle with it, and nurture it, and stay in that expansiveness, the gentleness, that flow that we talk about, and not trying to make it a certain way or to fit in a certain, that's the old paradigm, trying to get its claws and sink its teeth into this new way of creating. So I really wanted to share this with you because these are things that certainly kept me stuck along my spiritual journey. And I hope that this helps you all up level to the next level, to more expansion, to bigger and just more of that connection and that trust, and especially that surrender to the process. Don't forget to like this video. Please like down below and hit that subscribe button that way you can follow along in this journey of awakening and truly getting to know all that we are and all that we're capable of. Thanks again, and keep shining your light.